Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jim Patterson with OnePlan, and today we'll be presenting Maximizing IT Effectiveness with AI-driven strategic portfolio management. And we're pleased to be part of this ForwardTech virtual showcase today. Let's get started. There's a lot of important aspects of IT responsibilities, and it's a complex job. We're responsible for a lot of different things that makes an organization effective and efficient in what it does and having competitive advantage out there in the marketplace. We have to balance day-to-day technology operations with strategic projects and need to make sure strategic efforts don't get overshadowed by the day-to-day things that overwhelm us at some times. We need to better prioritize and identify what resources are needed to be successful across the board, because if we do this well, it does create a significant competitive advantage for our organizations. Now, there are challenges in delivering projects in IT. Resource constraints we always have. Do we have the right mix and the right amount of resources to do the things that are being demanded of us? Personnel, hardware, software, funding, etc. And finding the right balance of resources within those time constraints can be a challenge. Uncertainty. The pace of change of technology and just the marketplace in general involves complex and rapidly changing dynamics that is difficult to predict, and uncertainty can make it difficult to plan and have us change our priorities frequently. Stakeholder management. We have a lot of people to please, usually involving internal, external people, as well as our actual customers themselves. And then the risk management. IT projects are inherently risky, and it's important to identify and assess and manage risks effectively and manage those effectively across the delivery of all those projects in the entire portfolio of projects. And IT projects have complex dependencies, and we need to consider these. They're complexities between the projects themselves, the resources, the customers, the enterprise and business architecture elements that have to be considered in order to be successful. And then committing to strategic projects. It's difficult to achieve, like we had mentioned, managing day-to-day technology challenges and still keep our eye on the ball on where we want to go strategically to make sure we allocate enough of our bandwidth to those so that we can actually achieve them. And then missed opportunities. The projects on your long-term to-do list will bring significant improvements to your organization and strategically get us where we want to go. But deferring or not delivering these will come at a cost and a price, and even competitive advantage, even our very existence and place in the marketplace. On top of that, we have disconnected systems and processes. Different components and different aspects of IT. Sometimes all that work is managed in parallel processes and in parallel tools and different spreadsheets and those types of things. Service management, project management, application management, all the work elements that come out of those. Having these as siloed processes can make us very ineffective and have us maybe even duplicate in doing the same things in different places within the organization. So how do we find our way through this maze so that we strive and achieve the right balance of what we would like to do? Well, first we have to align our strategy with our execution. And executing strategy in the digital age requires that we have technology and tools that connect the shared objectives that are derived by our leadership within our organizations and those actually executing the change so that we can actually achieve and measure true business value to the organization. And this should permeate through our entire portfolio and program management. It involves people, strategy, and operations. It's a system of developing, planning, organizational alignment, building operational plans, monitoring and learning as we go, and then testing and adapting afterwards to the change that we find or the things that we face, and form the basis for an increase in value by executing the strategy and delivering the things that we actually need to deliver at the right time. So strategic portfolio management, or SPM, involves more than just the strategy itself and the projects themselves and the work elements themselves. It's a combination of a variety of things. We can see the objectives and the key results in this chart on the right side. The projects that we execute, the epics on the more agile efforts, the features we deliver in product and application development, and then the products and the business capabilities and the value streams and all the different aspects that come into delivering these projects and these work elements have to be factored in even when we decide what to work on, let alone to succeed at delivering on them. So leadership requires SPM to support enterprise-wide strategy to execution, alignment, and adaptation. The definition of these strategies have to include things like mapping them to the business capabilities, the investments, the digital and physical products that are impacted or required, and the projects themselves, and making sure that they're factoring in all the different dimensions. So we have to capture, define, and prioritize the business strategies, manage the execution of the initiatives and the projects, and then drive the achievement of these strategies to provide full visibility of core functional assets that are going to be involved in making this a success. So leadership sets the direction, IT functional management owns the critical assets that we're talking about, and then the execution teams plan and deliver the projects and products in pursuit of reaching the business goals that have been stated by our leadership. Why is this important? Well, we're in increasingly complex business environments, and because of these changing situations that we have to manage risk and optimize our portfolios and constantly readjust and assess those and align them with our strategic goals and making sure that they're always in alignment. Greater need for financial and resource optimization because we have to identify and prioritize the most critical things that we need to do and allocate the resources so we can maximize the return and the value. Demand for data-driven decision making. We need insights into portfolios real time so that we can make informed decisions as these things change, so we can be responsive and be more agile. And then the adoption of those agile and other project management methodologies, having different ways, work being different, and different methods and different tools across the organization, we have to be able to harness that and still provide common visibility across all those so that leadership can actually make the decisions that they need to make and make sure that they're aligned with strategic goals always. And then the emerging technologies and business models, if we don't be responsive to all this, we may miss the boat. We may not be able to take advantage and maximize the new opportunities and challenges that we face, and our competitors may supplant us. So OnePlan provides the path for strategic portfolio management and a complete solution for the enterprise. We have strategic planning for the business leaders, whether it be OKRs and value stream planning. The execution leaders can execute on their work elements and their projects in the way that see fit, whether they be traditional waterfall, whether it be agile, more adaptive, mixed mode, professional services, or even product development methodologies. And then the functional leaders basically, as I mentioned, own the enterprise architecture, the business architecture, the application portfolios, the product portfolios. So those assets that we have to factor into our decision making is important. So OnePlan provides the capabilities within one hub and one tool set to deliver on all these things. For example, the strategic piece, the OKRs and the strategies can be developed and tracked and executed. The enterprise architecture elements can be identified and tracked in here, whether they be products and business capabilities or applications, etc. The ideation, the portal, so that people can provide the best ideas and the best requests that we can consider and make sure that they align with those enterprise architectures and objectives and key results that we stated, so that ultimately they become the projects that we select and we plan. And the portfolio management can be done in traditional ways, more agile boards, can be done in roadmap views, etc. But ultimately we have to have resource capacity planning in here so that when we commit to things, we have to have a good confidence that we can deliver on the things that we're committing to, and not overcommitting and setting ourselves up for failure. The financial planning and tracking, the budgets are important. We have to establish budgets and then track how we're doing with those on an actual basis. And with the changing marketplace and the changing technologies and conditions, it's important to have what-if scenario modeling to evaluate alternatives. On the execution side, you have to do work planning, whether it be more waterfall plans or more agile plans. OnePlan handles that natively, but we have connectors to the most popular planning tools out there so that we can fold those into one common portfolio very, very easily, along with managing issues, risks, and changes. The resource management on an individual plan basis, that just rolls up to the overall capacity plan. And then having team members be able to give their feedback and status and comments and report time if needed. Have that all under one umbrella and one tool. Now, analysis and reporting is important. So having status reports so that people can see where things stand on a regular basis, dashboards on different perspectives at different levels, and then the visualizations of how all these things that I've just talked about interrelate with one another as we make decisions and as we assess our progress. Ultimately, we have to deliver what we intend to deliver and the value we intend to deliver. Now, artificial intelligence is part of this now. OnePlan has incorporated its own AI assistant. Sophia GPT, and we'll talk about that as part of this presentation. Now, do the right work, select the right things, and do the work right, meaning execute well as we go through that is our goal. And this impacts across the entire organization. We're talking about IT today, but IT is often involved in cross-functional projects, and they have projects of their own. And OnePlan is designed to provide a hub for all of that. Now, Sophia is based upon Azure OpenAI and the Microsoft Cloud with all its protections, with all of its compliance and security. And it is purpose-built for the purposes of strategic portfolio management, leveraging the data that's in OnePlan as well as its general knowledge. And it's always available in OnePlan at any given point in time, and you can ask it its own prompts, or we provide prompts to get you started, just kind of primers for you. Ultimately, it's an AI assistant. That's what's there today. We're moving quickly towards a fully auto mode that can anticipate some things and give you suggestions and actually solutions for things that you're facing at any given point in time. Now, the things that we can do with AI today, there's a lot of hype, but there's real tangible things that we can do today. For example, it can help us with strategic planning and help with portfolio optimization, work management and building of schedules, risk assessment, resource allocation, investment forecasting, etc. This is just some of the things that we can really actually do today. So there's AI strategic planning we can do with OnePlan. For example, you can ask it questions while you're working in your strategic plan. In this case, I'm asking it to analyze data to identify patterns, opportunities, and potential risks. So if we input that prompt to Sophia, and it looks at it and it actually giving the analysis of what it knows and the actual data in OnePlan, it's basically giving us its assessment of the patterns, the opportunities, and other aspects and potential risks in that particular plan. Enabling portfolio optimization, providing a summary of portfolio data and actually asking it to summarize and provide some analysis of the actual portfolio and the health of that as we go through. Once again, instead of me doing that from scratch, it's actually giving me the metrics themselves and then some qualitative and quantitative types of assessments of where that stands from a health perspective. Budget plan and optimization. We can select projects based on criteria. For example, if I ask it in this particular case, give me a balanced investment portfolio based on certain horizons and certain dollar values, it's basically going to ask, look in here based upon prioritization score and balanced investment horizons, giving the example of what things should be included of our potential and active projects. Then there's work management. For example, providing us with business case definition, right? Being able to create narrative business cases. We've seen ChatGPT and other things, help us write copy for certain things. But this one can actually look at the data that we've built into our plan and then basically help us build a business case based upon the knowledge of what that is, and then start writing the narrative around that at any given point in time. There's the risk identification and mitigation. Here's identifying potential risks and how to mitigate them. It's actually looking at this case in the interest of an individual plan, but this can be done at the portfolio level as well. And in this particular case, it's looking at the smart home automation system, and based on the nature of the type of project is and the data we've put in here, it's giving us potential risks, including privacy and security risks with mitigation strategies, interoperability and compatibility risks, etc. Once again, a way to help us with building risks. Building resource capacity plans. We can actually come in here and have it build resource capacity plans for us, etc. The idea here is that we go through a lot of different scenarios with forecasting, predictive analysis on the financials, and even help us write copy on things like summary emails and status reports to our managers. So ultimately, what can we do next? Well, IT has its own unique challenges, and we can provide strategic portfolio management to provide better alignment to get this done in a more efficient fashion. We provide webinars like this all the time, so reach out to us on oneplan.ai/webinars and look at our vast library of what's out there. And you can even start with a free trial with our strategic portfolio management here on OnePlan. And free offers, just contact us at oneplan.ai, and we're happy to engage with you at any given point in time. I'd like to thank you for your time today. We think of OnePlan as the power of one, the hub of all of this information.